Welcome to Game Recognized Game. I'm Miles Turner, my co-host Breanna Stewart. We are joined by one of the greatest players in WNBA history, 3-time WNBA champ, 7-time first team All WNBA, 2-time NCAA champion, the legendary Candace Parker. Man, what's up?
How you doing? Thanks, Stewie.
Absolutely.
The single clap. I don't know if it's more embarrassing than no, but
well, once I really clapped, I was like, "Oh, this is."
In the presence of greatness. It's just me and Stewie been doing this podcast thing for a minute now, and just honored to have you just be a part of the show today.
Again, I love hopping on podcasts. Obviously, I'm a fan of both of y'all's, so anything you guys are doing, I am doing as well. So thank you for having me. Mm-hmm.
Well, without further ado, when you hear Game Recognized Game, what does that mean to you?
I feel like it's a vantage point of like seeing something that somebody has worked for, in their entire life, regardless of where they came from, how they operate. I think it's just like seeing something in somebody else that you recognize in yourself. And it goes across levels of basketball, it goes across gender. And that's why I love like tuning in to y'all too, because I think it's important to bring a different perspective, but also respect what it takes to win.
I mean, I feel like Candace, I know your whole story, like, because I've watched all your things and seen you play and honored to be able to call you like a friend now. But like, when was the first time that you actually realized that you had game, like for real?
I think in 8th grade. I was the younger sister growing up with 2 older brothers that I was barely allowed to get into their games because they're so much older than me. So I would just get shots up in between, their games at the park. But I think in 8th grade is when I realized it was my first time on like a national stage. I went to AAU nationals and kind of was my first time measuring my game against the nation. And there were some unbelievable players there. I mean, Sylvia Fowles I've been playing against since I was 14 years old. She was like the same size at 14, by the way, just so you know. And just like out west, the FBC All-Stars and then the Philly Bells in the East and Sharnae Zoll and that whole, like it was just to be able to see on a national stage, like where your game measures up. And I think I came back from that tournament knowing like I had to work on these things, but I also knew like all the work I had been putting in was doing its job.
Speaking of game, like recognized game, obviously y'all know each other. I've known each other for quite some time. But like, when did you meet Stewie? And what was like your first impressions of her?
So, what's crazy is I was in Russia.
Oh, wow.
And I was in Russia and Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi were my teammates in Russia. Mm-hmm. And we were sitting down to dinner and it was going into Stewie's freshman year. And they were like, there's this like freshman. She's like, her wingspan is ridiculous. And she's about 6'5". And she can just run like a gazelle. She can handle the ball. She moves off the ball, all this stuff and whatever. So that was the first time I heard about Stewie. Mm-hmm. And then kind of fast forward, obviously when you're overseas, you're tuning into, but it's not what it is now where you can stream everything. And so the Final Four was like my first, like, man. And she messed around and like, dominated at the Final Four and got that championship. And
figured it out.
No, you figured it out. And I think that's when I was like, oh, she's special. Cause there's a lot of greats. I mean, you look at Diana Taurasi, her freshman year, she wasn't able to get over the hump to win. You look at even Wemby this year, I know it's not his first year, but this was kind of like,
young gun.
So it's like, it usually takes the young bucks a little bit of time to like figure it out. Like the first experience of the Final Four or a finals or whatever it is to figure it out. And it was like, man, she could do everything. And so that was kind of my first experience seeing her. And then I think USA Basketball was like our first real like meeting. And man, we went and got gelato together. We had dunk contests together.
Where were we? It was like 2014.
We were in Prague, I think. Was it Prague? No, Italy. We were in Italy too.
Yes.
Because we got gelato in Italy, I remember. But yeah, that was and just dope. Like Stewie's just so dope, so laid back, so cool.
Facts. Facts.
And it was just really cool for
So
me.
laid back, and I'm like having gelato with Candace Parker, and I'm like, I'm in college, and I'm like, all right. What flavor should I get? I don't know.
No, but it was really cool to like hang out with Stewie and like just to see then and then to see now, just like how great she was and how great she's continued to be.
The sisterhood, man, is something that I think is amazing to speak on. And, the brotherhood on our side, obviously, like it just runs so much deeper than just basketball. The fact that you were able just to, take under your wing at such a young age, and she looked up to you and had the aspirations, you know what I mean? And just on that same subject, we had to talk about it. Like a week ago, Stewie had the audacity to pass you and move into 10th place on the
while
all-time
I was commentating the game.
WNBA scoring list.
That was crazy.
It's crazy how the fates work, man, and just how the higher calling works. And what were your emotions, when you were calling the game, and then what'd you say to Stewie about it afterwards? It's just so serendipitous how it all came together.
Man, I'm about to tumble, and I've said this. I'm about to tumble down the mountaintop because my record's about to be like, you gonna have to look real deep into the record books. And so you knew it was only a matter of time. And I just thought that it was unbelievable timing that she did it with me commentating the game. She knows how much of a fan I am of hers and just the way she does it. She did it on a sick and one, honestly, off a slip, which I was like, that's what she used to get me all the time. Like our joke, every time we played each other, I would tell her, I bet you're not gonna slip on me. Like that was my whole thing because she likes to slip out of screens. And she would get me every game. And so then I started getting smarter where I would like hold her and get a foul so she couldn't slip. But no, I mean, listen, she's got so many more buckets to come. And I'm gonna be cheering for her, watching her, every step of the way, just because like I love seeing greatness up close and being able to be at a different vantage point. And so now I'm calling the game. I'm not playing no more, and I don't have to worry about them slips. So
that's real.
But it really was like I had no idea that I was like close or even gonna pass you. But when you told me afterwards, I kind of was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you talking about?"
She was saying that last episode. It's crazy.
But it really cool to be able to kind of be playing in front of you and in your presence during that moment. Like, I feel like for me, like when all these things happen, I feel like, whoa, yeah, because we're playing way more games. Like that's the mindset that I have is like, of course, because like if you were playing 44 games or, going to be 50 games, like those buckets would be like crazy up there. Still, it's an incredible honor, but I feel like you should have more. You know what I mean? Like, is that weird to feel?
I appreciate you. I mean, obviously, like coming in the league, like I would have loved to play 44, 50 games. But that's not where the league was at that time. I think my rookie year we played 28 games, 28 games.
Wow.
And then I think we ended up 32 until this last jump. But honestly, I think that's what it's meant for. Like that's the growth. We want to add games. And I hope at some point it gets to 70. I know you probably like, nah, bruh. But I hope at some point.
As long as it spreads out. I don't care. Like,
it's
I just wanted
condensed. Condensed is tough. But also like, man, the additions, like 7-game series, that would have been so much fun. I mean, everybody grew up watching, the NBA and best of 7 and all that stuff. So to see now this year, it be a best of 7, I'm excited about the growth of the game.
Stu, I got a question for you. So obviously I know, Candace was one of your idols, growing up. Like what were there parts for a game that you were trying to emulate? Were there, stuff that you were watching in particular that you added to your game? Like, speak to that a little bit.
I wanna emulate. I still wanna emulate like everything that Candace has been able to bring, that you've been able to bring. I think, obviously, like your right shoulder fade. It's
I saw
coming.
the shimmy last game too.
You know it's coming, and you're still getting to it. So like, of course, I want to add that into my repertoire. It's funny because like what I know, but like it was just like, especially when you're on that left block, like that shit was going off the glass, going right in the basket, not touching the rim, not touching anything. But the other thing is like, she's an incredible passer, like an insane passer. Like obviously like has the handles, but like that's where I want to like continue to kind of develop and see is like making those next play reads, because obviously I'm always getting two on the ball, things like that. But if I can continue to grow into that even more, that would be incredible. She was like triple doubles all the time, triple double watch all the time.
I was like
before it was even cool.
I was the almost triple double queen. There are so many times where I look and came out at 9 assists. I'm like, that would not happen today. That would never
No, that would not.
would not happen today.
I'm a fanboy a little bit too, man. Your pull-up game is crazy to me. That's one thing I think was so underappreciated that like people, it's an underappreciated aspect of our game now too, like the mid-range and whatnot. But like your 1-2 dribble pull-ups at your height, like that shit was insane to me. I thought it was dope.
Let me tell you, also Candace does this move. She tries to get every rookie on. She literally faces up and does this pass fakes the ball over your head. And I was like, you're not gonna get me. You're not gonna get me. But I do my pregame warm-ups with Andrew Wade. And every time we like play one-on-one in the post, I'm like, Candace Parker.
Yeah, I try to get every rookie to turn around at least once with that. So, I appreciate you, Stewie. Appreciate the love.
Real quick, we don't have to go deep into this, but obviously, like the Team USA, the World Cup roster was announced. What's your like general thoughts about it?
Here's my philosophy. If you are going to advocate to take somebody or put somebody on the roster, you have to take somebody off. And
Understood.
That is the most difficult thing. You're also putting together a team, right? And as somebody that was cut in 2016 from the team, you understand like the levels of what goes into picking the team. It's not always sometimes the 12 best players. It's the team that the committee or the coaches feel like can give them the most there. And I will say that it is really important in the changing of the guards. And I think you've been a part of this where you go from a experienced team to now a youth roster where it's changing over and you're coming into 2028, which is going to be in the United States, in LA. And all of our main players used to play overseas for 6 months out of the year and they don't anymore. So now I think it's so important to put together the best team to be able to make a run out of it. Were there some shocks? Were there some players that maybe should have been in the running that aren't? Like, I mean, you could throw out Kelsey Mitchell, could throw out Olivia Miles, obviously Breanna, not making the team after making the Olympic team last time. You could throw out those, but all in all, I think, it is a tough job. I think you can make a case for a lot of different people, but I also think you can make a case for the type of player that's even allowed to try out for USA basketball and has a shot to even make it. So, I mean, I think years past, and I still believe it, that USA could win gold, silver, and bronze. Like, we could stack 3 teams and probably win gold, silver, and bronze. And now, France, like some of these other teams that are coming along, you almost have to be really deliberate with how you put it together. But again, you still have the best front court. Yeah, like you still have the best front court players, which is what the position is over there. Like you have to have the best front court players to win. What are you gonna say though?
I was gonna ask, like, who are your sleepers for the World Cup? Like, I mean, I don't think anybody's a sleeper, but like for the people that maybe don't pay attention as much, like who's? I mean,
you got your French connection, in terms of on your team that are really good, that I think are going to be able. I mean, you talk about Gabby Williams in the season that she's having, Marine Johannes playing well, Astier's French, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're seeing it first and foremost. And so I don't have to tell you that France is the team that has really invested in their players. They're playing in the WNBA, and we're almost giving them a platform to know and learn our games. Because before, a lot of the foreign players didn't come over here and play. So they didn't know the style of, this is the way that, these are the plays that they run, like whatever. It's a challenge, you know what I mean? And then we would go over there and play kind of that. So I just feel like France is the number one. I mean, no surprise. You can throw in Germany a little bit. They're making a run at it. What other teams? Let's see. You guys have Italy in your bracket. You guys have China in your bracket. Japan is actually one of the toughest teams. Is Japan not like annoying to guard?
Oh my gosh. Yamamoto played against us the other night. Is it yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday. With Vegas. And she is so fast. They're
It's
all
like,
so fast.
they
and
are
they can just
so-
shoot the
and they-
shit out of the ball.
And they just cut. Like, they just cut.
The men's team is the same exact way. Like we in our heads, like, hey, we're gonna beat these guys, but like it's gonna be a challenge because it's just annoying, just like pests. Yeah.
It's just like, if you don't jump ball, they're cutting in front of your face. Like, it's just like so many things where you're just like, stop cutting. So yeah,
I swear
think
we guarded them like face guard. I was
yes,
like, you're just not gonna move. Like, I'm just go wherever you go.
it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think you guys will definitely get it done. But I do think it'll, there'll be a couple tests. We'll see.
Well, Candace, I know you obviously called the game now, so you get a chance to have an in-depth look at, some of these younger stars, coming up. But what do you think the impact's going to be of some of the newcomers, like your Leah Bostons, your Caitlin Clarks, your Pages, your Angel Reeses? Like, what do you kind of see? I guess they're new drawing this. It's their first blood. You know what I mean? What do you think?
Well, I think all of them have passed the test. When you come in a league, you get tested. Stewie knows. I know. Like, you get tested. And when you get the nod from vets, like, you've taken a step forward. And I think all of the above have. You talk about Angel Reese double-doubles and her ability to continue to control the boards and be able to get out in transition. You talk about Paige Becker's smooth mid-range game. She just gets to her spots at ease. Caitlin Clark's ability, her passing ability. I think people talk about her long logo threes, but really it's like her passing ability. Aaliyah Boston is just annoying. She's added the three to her game. Now she can facilitate with dribble handoffs and is orchestrating that offense. So she's another ball handler that they can rely on. So I just think in general, like across the board, Olivia Miles, I want to add her because I think her impact, her change of speed and her pace. Like, I don't know if you watched the other day where she came off, she crossed the other way and then went and like, she's just so, she's like not
shimmy. Yeah.
Yes. Like she's not, I wouldn't call her like super fast or quick, but she's just like in this box, the quickest and the fastest player that you'll guard. And so I think the future is bright and now the platform is there. So they're able to have like now the player development and be able to have the resources to like really see what they're going to be.
Absolutely. Well, time for a quick break. Next up, we talk about the evolution of the WNBA and go rapid fire to get Candace to answer some tough questions. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Game Recognized Game with Stewie and Myles wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back to Game Recognized Game with Stewie and Myles and the legend herself, Candace Parker, period. All right, Candace. What's the biggest change in the WNBA since you entered the league in 2008?
Chartered flights.
You know what's so crazy? Is like literally I say like, how would we travel with all these bags? How? We travel now with the hyperbaric chamber and all this other shit. Like, you
Stewie,
just wouldn't.
When I tell you, you didn't. And second of all, back-to-backs, I laugh because my back-to-backs, and I don't want to sound like an old head, but I'm going to sound like an old head for a second. My back-to-backs where we would play, we would go back to the hotel, and after games you don't sleep. So you're like either at the hotel or at home till 2 a.m. We would take a 6 a.m. flight out, the first flight out the next morning, go to the hotel, and then like, I guess rest. I don't know, try to get rest, whatever. We'd get up and do walkthrough at like 3 o'clock. And then we'd have a 7 p.m. game and play. And I was like, I wish that took off a couple miles. That took off a couple years of my career. So yeah, I would say, the playing, because you have all that stuff that you could never bring with you. And I'm all about recovery. So yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Well, the WNBA has garnered like a lot of changes. And, just from an outside perspective, man, it's been amazing just to watch the growth. You know what I mean? So many eyes on the league now. And something I know you guys take pride in. What change are you the most proud of?
Well, other than the chartered flights, I would say, I think just in terms of like the visibility, like now the league, you're seeing not only more games on television with Amazon, shout out to Amazon, and you talk about Ion, you talk about USA Network, you talk about ESPN, ABC, NBC, you go down the line, and then also now commercials. Like you're seeing more brands that are featuring women and women's basketball players. And I think that's been the major growth, is to see that, like, you know, that's so important.
And what do you think about the fans? Like, obviously now, like, there's a way more fans than there ever was. Like, you still have the OG fans, but then you have the newcomers who come over from NIL, but also just the new ones with the popularity of the sport. Like, for me, I'm like, they would so appreciate older WNBA, like the older games that were being played, because it was like physical, it was tough. You guys were all like bucket getters. What do you think? Like, how can we continue to kind of bridge that gap between like the OG fan and like the new fan?
Hey, listen, I think it's important, like, before you cannonball into something, you got to know the history, and you got to take pride in learning that. And, you know, I know all of us are students of the game, and I know there was a lot of basketball that probably happened before we existed, but it doesn't mean that we didn't ever stop to think about the people that kind of paved the way. You know, I never watched Bill Russell play, I'll be honest, but I know his contributions to basketball. I know, you know, Abdul-Jabbar, like, I know his contributions. I know, like, all of us, Cheryl Miller, same thing. So I feel like as a fan, if you're going to critique it, you're going to love it, you're going to dive into it, you got to understand, like, where the game came from. And I think that's what I would challenge fans. And then also we as players have to do a good job of making sure that, you know, we don't lose sight of that. Maybe possibly like a little history show. I don't know. A little trip down memory lane.
Show would be cool.
Yeah.
That's a real bar. That's a real bar.
It would be crazy, because I feel like in order to really love something, you got to know where it came from or where it started.
Tell Amazon to do it.
Yeah, we're going to work on that.
No pitch meeting. All right, y'all. Let's do some rapid fire questions.
Wait, I want to answer this question. Hold on.
Oh, what you got?
How many?
My fault.
Well, I'm going to just ask it and answer it myself. How many points do I think Candace would average this year in the WNBA?
Oh, you haven't seen me move. I'll be on the bike, though.
No. Like, not like right now. You would still be averaging, like, I think you could easily average 23 points.
You know what, Stewie? I'll be honest. Like, today's game is like what, like, Lauren Jackson had to fight for. Do you know?
Yeah, it's like catered for you.
It's like the ball on the top of the key, spread with shooters, in transition, rebound, run, push it. There's no, like, coach that's being like, don't dribble. So
inverted pick and rolls, like high ball screens.
I remember, like, can we run an inverted pick and roll? And everyone's like, no, I mean, so yeah, I think regardless of the numbers, I would just be so happy to play in this, like, free, open. Y'all are averaging 100, like almost 100 points. Like, y'all are in the 90s for sure. So it's crazy. Like, I would love that. So I appreciate you, but right now it'd be a good run up and back, pull something, and then go right back to the bench. That's what it would be right now.
So 20. That's what I'm hearing.
All right, Miles, yeah. Okay, Miles. Now, rapid fire.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna get right to it, man. Chicago or Los Angeles?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like city or playing for? That is
all
why did we put
encompassing.
Vegas in there?
Oh.
All right. All encompassing.
Vegas is too hot. It's already out. It's too hot. I'll say Los Angeles. I've made Los Angeles home.
Wow. Okay.
It is really hard for me to go against Chicago. I think Chicago's in me in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Because I dealt with the cold, so that much.
You never get used to that.
I'm gonna just be out here.
What was your greatest performance on the court? Like, what's the one where you're like, yeah, I like crushed it?
I really feel like my debut game in the WNBA. I had almost a triple double. Actually, I want to go back and count how many assists, because the way they be handing out assists now, I'm like, for sure I got a triple double, because you could take 2 steps and do a move now, and they're like, oh, assist.
Marta says the same thing. She's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, because she's overseas. So she knows it's like direct basket. But yeah, I think my debut in the WNBA was like the only time I've been like, yeah, all right. Like, yep.
All right, who was your best teammate?
I have a tie. I would say Chelsea Gray and Kalia Copper are my 2.
Chelsea Gray.
Both of them are just more than just teammates. You know what I mean? So yeah, those 2 are like forever. They got me for life.
What's one thing like you don't miss?
I don't miss the first steps out of bed in the morning with my body during season. That's what I don't miss. Like them first steps out of bed after a long stretch of like 4 games and 8 nights. And your feet, your knees, and your brain can only process certain pain. So you move and you're like, ooh, like. So yeah, I don't miss it, but I miss it obviously.
When you get out of bed and you're like, don't fall over, please don't fall over.
Yes, and your kids are looking at you like, are you okay? And they want you to run and play with them, and you're like, but I can't.
Man, well, speaking of that, I guess me and Stewie are both kind of getting old here, man. I'm going on year 12.
You are not anywhere near old. Neither of you.
In league years.
Yourself.
In league years.
Yeah.
You know what?
I'm
You're
a
right,
young
Stewie.
31.
You're right, Stewie. You're right. I just feel like I'm aging like a dog, man. I don't know. What piece of advice would you give for Stewie and I over the next 5 years of our career? You know, just heading this back half of the career.
There's a mindset change, and you know, you have to have when you hit 30. I would say 32 was when I figured out like there's a difference in the way. And I think you have to really lean into like not necessarily, it's about working smarter, not necessarily harder. And I say that in like, you have to be, it's about quality, not quantity at this point when you get older. And like, that goes into your like pregame routine. It goes into your recovery, your activation and things like that. Like you almost have to protect yourself against how you've always done things, which is just go harder and go longer. So that's like my biggest advice to you.
Damn, I actually really needed to hear that.
Okay, well, listen.
That's very sound advice.
I'm telling you, you got to you got to change how you've always done things when you hit 31, 32. Because otherwise, like it's not the same. It really isn't.
All right, y'all. Well, on that note, it's time for one more break. Next up, we talk about legacy, and we're going to get some parenting advice from Candace.
Welcome back to Game Recognized Game with Stewie and Myles. We are joined by Candace Parker, and I have so many questions for you, but if I had to just ask like a few more, what was like the most defining moment of your career?
I fully believe you're not a champion until you do it again. Like,
wow.
You do it a second time, and then it's not by chance. And so I think winning in Chicago in 2021 at home, like where I first picked up a basketball, and that season was really, really hard. Injuries, and we were in 6th place, I think, at that time. And so I think that was kind of just like my career in a nutshell. Just my career in a nutshell. So yeah, that was to me like the defining moment.
Wow.
How does it feel to know you're gonna have 2 statues?
No. Nah, man. Like I said, I'm grateful for the jerseys and the rafters, and I'm grateful for just being able to hang banners. Cause like that's the thing I love about you, Stewie, man. Like you all about winning. Like skip all that other stuff. It's great, but you know, what's undisputed is the banners that you leave, you know, in the places that you played. And so that to me was the most important.
Yeah, that's so real. I kind of want to continue on that topic. Just how do you see your legacy in basketball? You know, obviously it's still happening. You're still very involved with the game, but that legacy piece is just so important. You know, people can talk about it, but how do you see it?
Well, it's so interesting because I've kind of flipped the script on like legacy on the court, because I think that's already been cemented, and, you know, the foundation and, you know, the cherry on top and all of that. To me, I'm kind of flipping to like, I know how impactful, you know, inside the NBA was to me and growing the game in the NBA. And whether you hate it or like it or love it or whatever, but it's had an impact on the growth and the fans and the people that have tuned in, and the way that the NBA is covered. And I think from top to bottom inside the NBA has actually opened up more doors for players to pick up a mic, because it used to not just be old retired players that were able to commentate. It would be actual media, right, that would be there on the sideline. And so I hope to do a little bit of that for the WNBA. Like, I love the game. I love talking about the game. My opinions sometimes piss people off, which I'm okay with it. Like, you know, step to the plate and let's have a real conversation about why you think my opinion is wrong. I'm all for that. But where the WNBA needs to go is more about debate on court and about skill set and basketball and all of that, and less about everything else. And so I hope to be able to bring that to the game.
She's a commentator and an analyst, and also she has a podcast, Post Moves Podcast, with
You guys are both
Parker and
welcome.
Aaliyah Boston.
Both welcome.
I've been on.
Yeah. Anytime. You're welcome. You got to have a post-up game. Y'all both have that, so you're welcome on the show.
Say that.
What have you learned about the younger generation of players, especially like doing the show with Aaliyah?
I would say just in terms of like their youth is their power. I think sometimes there's power in not knowing what you don't know. And I learn a lot about just the mindset it takes. Now everything you do is under scrutiny and online and, a topic for discussion. So just learning how at 18, 19, 20 years old, they've been navigating this entire time. And man, I wish we had NIL. That's all.
That's so real.
I wish we had NIL. I'll be honest.
As a retired player, like you're always celebrating helping the next generation of players, But that always isn't the case in either of our leagues. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that have a lot of bad things to say about like the new generation and the way that things are going for the game. But, why the difference? Why do you feel like you feel the need to advocate, for these younger players and continue to stay in their corner?
I just want us to realize like what it was like when we were new and rookies coming in. And I think we sometimes forget that experience is like life's greatest teacher. You have to go through that to really get to where people are. And we expect these young kids, just because we tell them what to do or we tell them how to do it, to be able to automatically do it in that way. And sometimes it's about carving out the way you want to do it. I know, the songs and lyrics, and I use this as an example all the time. Like I remember being in the locker room and turning on the music and I had the aux cord and Lisa Leslie being like, what did that lyric say? And me being like, nah, it's Lil Wayne. He just talking about, my shit so it don't stink like road, all that stuff, right? And, we're listening to all of this and whatever. And Lisa's like, what? What is that? And now fast forward, man, it was Boss Man D-Lo playing in the locker room. And I was like, what? And, I'm a Boss Man D-Lo fan. So some of them, I'm like, cool. But then there was like, they prayed on my downfall song. And I'm like going through like, well, there's the reason why they prayed on your downfall is because you did all these things that you talked about in the song. So I realized I was the old head in the locker room. And it was a full circle. And so it's like, if that's how we look at music, imagine how we look at the game. Like, that's not the way you did it when you were a rookie. It's just, that's the tools you had. So now it's like, there's different tools. There's different stages. There's different pressure. There's all these things. Like, I don't know what it's like to come in the league right now, because I know what it was like to come in back then. So I'm all about grace. Lord knows I need a lot of grace. But I'm also like realist. And I realize like the rookies are handling their business. There's a reason why they're great. So that's my reasoning. And I don't want to be an angry old head, man. No angry old heads. Nobody wants an angry old head. It's too many. Where you're like, oh, I used to get out of here.
All right. So normally at the end of the show, I do a Stewie's Parent Corner. But because you got a lot going on in that house that I can hear, let's go to Candace's let's go to Candace's Parent Corner. What parenting advice do you have for me and for Miles in the future?
Yeah, I got cats right now. I ain't got no kids yet.
Do what you say, right? We kind of grew up in the generation where our parents were kind of like, do as I say, not as I do. And I think you should do what you say you're going to do. And your kids will do that. They follow you based off of, my son the other day said something that I say all the time. And I was like, I can't even get mad at you, because you've had a front row seat of like me saying that. And so I think it's like, they see the way you work. They see the way you recover from like anger and like disappointment and happiness, and they see the way you show love. So I think that would be my biggest advice is like, there are some times where I have to stop and be like, okay, he is going to do this in class tomorrow. Yeah. So let me make sure that I handle this the right way.
That's absolutely right.
And there's no participation trophies in the Parker household, man.
Oh, hell
Absolutely
no.
not.
No,
Nah,
that's,
bruh.
winning.
that's reciprocal, yeah.
If you didn't win, you're not winning.
Nah,
That's
and you gotta get
so real.
a trophy, a real trophy to put on the mantle. Like, we're not putting I tried my best. Like, nah.
No, that should be in every household. I remember my mom threw mine in the trash. And it was crazy, but it was a great
And it ended up
realization.
working out pretty well for you.
Absolutely. Well, Candace, do you got any questions for us, before we wrap up?
Oh, 100%. All right. What for you? I'll start with you, Miles. What are you adding to your game coming into the NBA season this year?
One thing I love about the big man position is that ever since I've been in the league, it's always evolving, right? When I first came to the league, back in 2015, it was more so you're kind of traditional back to the basket, old school like type of big. It was just kind of transitioning, right? Now, obviously, you're in the modern era of the stretch bigs, but now you have facilitating bigs. And that's one part of my game I'm trying to expand more is I've always had the vision, but I've just never had just I'm going to do it now. You know what I mean? I'm going to make this decision now. And obviously it's something you can speak to because you were an incredible passer, for your position. So for me, coming to a season where we have a lot of, moving parts, it's a lot of new guys, I know I can score, but just being more of a facilitator is something to be so important to me. Being able to actually read the game and, break it down. Because, they always say as you get older, the game slows down a bit. And I finally got to experience that a little bit over the past, couple of years. So, facilitating is going to be big for me. And, just doing whatever I can just to take this young regime into, a very stacked East coming up.
I really like that. And take care of my little fella. Well, he's a big fellow, but he's young. Nate Ament. That's my Tennessee guy.
Of course, Tennessee
so
connection.
You got to make sure and tell him I said hello and take care of him for me. Stewie, let me ask you this. Like, what is it going to take? Because you are actually having a career year this year. Just looking at your numbers top to bottom, the way you're playing. What is it going to take for New York to be positioned? Because I feel like you almost have to be top 4, top 5 to position yourself to make a run at this title.
Right now, like my mindset is we're trying to collect wins. Like we're trying to figure things out on the fly where I feel like our foundation of our defense is getting more and more intact every day. But that was the biggest hole in the first half is when we don't have a foundation of where we're going to fall back to, where's going to be the help side and all of this, we're kind of almost on islands with each other. And then, we had a lot going on with just the new coach, players, a lot of things happening and post All-Star break. And especially, within this last week, it's whoever's here is what we got. Nobody else is coming in to save us. Of course, we hope to get some people back from injury. But my mindset and mentality is going out and trying to take it, doing whatever I can to really help the team win. And I feel like when I'm aggressive from the start, that kind of sets a tone for everybody else. So
absolutely.
And also, honestly, would love your advice. I'm gonna text you about this off camera, but this season is so weird, right? With the World Cup break, it's I feel like all I care about right now is these next 7 games. Because then we have 2-week break, and then it's 4 more random.
Yeah, the way they broke the season up was wild. And it's going to be interesting because I think the teams that actually have the most players on World Cup are going to struggle. Because there has never been a team that has had, I think, 3 players or 2 or 3 players. So during the Minnesota Dynasty, they never won the year that they had World Cup or Olympic breaks. Same thing with Vegas in 2024. They played really well and then they went into the Olympics and, it's hard because you don't know whether to rust, all these things. And so I think it's going to be a unique situation for everyone. To me, the playoffs are going to slow down. It's always going to get physical. Miles, you know that. The game is going to get so physical. And
absolutely.
So I am a big believer in a junk zone, man. You throw that junk zone out there every now and again and practice it, and you throw teams off their rhythm.
Yeah.
Because they're so elite scoring. I mean, even looking at Indy in that series against OKC, y'all threw out some junk defense at times, which really messed SGA up and, and things like that. But You can't scout it. And then also you're going to have an X factor. So I don't know who your X factor about to be. I think Astia is actually your X factor. You're going to have to make sure and get them going into playoffs. Like they need to understand this break, you know, when they come back, they got to hit the ground running. So
yeah, it's basically like playoff time once we come back. Like that's literally it.
Yeah, you got to take care of your body, man. Kara can't be running all y'all into the ground. Y'all got to spread the wealth.
Well, Candace, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. This was incredible. You're a legend in our eyes and obviously in many eyes. But to get your one-on-one insight is really cool. So appreciate you taking some time out.
Man, I appreciate you all. And good luck. Have a great rest of the summer, Miles. And Stewie, I'll actually see you in Berlin.
Thanks for checking us out, y'all. Please rate, review, subscribe to Game Recognized Game. You never know, man. A legend like Candace Parker joins us today. Who's going to be next? See y'all next time.